Princess Anne's shocking revelation about King Charles that left him furious and shook the palace. Princess Anne, known for her strong will and defiance, said something that moved the king to tears and shocked the whole royal family and the world. Is it a continuation of her refusal to give her children titles? Did she act out of defiance, challenging her brother's rule? Was there a message for Camilla and other intruders in it? Stay with us as we unfold this royal conflict. Watch the video until the end to see what conspired between Princess Royal and her king's brother. Number 1. The unbreakable yet complex bond between Anne and Charles. Princess Anne has always been close to her brother. With an age difference of less than 2 years, both were raised behind the same Buckingham Palace walls. As their parents were busy performing their royal duties, both were left more or less on nannies, so it was natural for the two siblings to become close, as both had each other to console, turn to, and look out for. Witnessing their mother's dedication to the service of monarchy, both shared a bond far more profound than siblings. Both have inherited a strong sense of duty towards their titles. Serving monarchy has been in their blood, and both are committed to it with equal zeal. Their mutual respect and love turned into an alliance as they remained steadfast with each other through thick and thin. They share hobbies like horse riding and gardening. As royal children, they learned horse riding from their mother, Queen Elizabeth. The siblings not only share responsibilities, hobbies, love, and duties, but can also laugh together. Especially after the demise of their beloved mother, Queen Elizabeth II, Anne has been with her brother not only as a strong ally but also as a protector. She has taken on more responsibilities. Standing shoulder to shoulder with her brother, she has been called the eyes and ears of the monarchy. Number 2. Princess Anne's shocking exclusion from royal inheritance. Despite being such a devoted royal, she was excluded from the Queen's inheritance and later denied titles to her children. From the very young age of 18, she served the monarchy, dedicating herself to royal duties and earning the reputation of the hardest royal worker. With Charles becoming the sole benefactor, Anne will not get anything directly from the estimated fortune of the Queen's $500 million. She excelled in all the areas expected of her, and she was committed to serving the monarchy from the very young age of 18. Yet, this royal patriarchal system excluded her from her mother's inheritance. Being raised with a deep sense of service, she has stayed steadfast in her loyalty towards her brother. She left all her inheritance to King Charles because of an old-age tradition of protecting royal wealth. The decision stemmed from a lesser-known strategy from 1862 to minimize the inheritance tax within and protect royal wealth. Now, the question arises, did she accept it or feel against it? Did it cause any rift between the two siblings? This exclusion may have turned anyone sour, but not Princess Anne. She has been busy as ever serving the monarchy. Her focus is on her royal duties rather than on the privileges or titles. Unlike other royal family members, she has consistently demonstrated a sense of duty and commitment to service. But what exactly happened that made her shake her composed exterior and step out of her reserved nature? What pushed her from the confines of royal decorum and assert herself again? The truth is that, like any other family, even the royal family struggles. Things have not always been rosy and peachy between Princess Anne and King Charles. Number 3. The hidden rivalry. Why Anne overshadowed Charles in their youth. Like any other sibling pair, there has always been a hidden rivalry between the two. They grew up with different characters. Despite a close bond, the two have always shared an apparent clash of personalities. King Charles was more artistic, timid, and shy, while Anne was a born leader. She exhibited the strong willpower, free spirit, and defiant nature, ever known for her practical nature. In fact, there have been rumors of a long-fed rift between the two, hidden behind pleasantries. They have been civil, but like any other siblings, they have challenges. Anne has always been on the livelier side, while Charles has been on the healthier side. Their approach to duties also varies. Anne has been consistently hardworking, dedicating her time to royal engagements. Charles shares equal zeal, but has always been more involved in his passions, like architecture and organic farming. Like any other set of siblings, Charles and Camilla have been part of family dynamics in which they are constantly compared and contrasted. despite having individual personalities. Despite these family clashes, both have more conflicts, especially since Camilla entered the family. Number 4. Anne's true thoughts on Queen Camilla. Like many other royal members, Anne was not very welcoming to Camilla. While Anne and Camilla may share a sister-in-law relationship, their apparent rivalry is not only rooted in tough family dynamics. It goes back to their youth days when both were in their 20s. Queen Camilla married King Charles when he was still heir to the throne in 2005, but her relationship with Anne goes far back to the 1970s. It was Anne who introduced Charles back in the 1970s. Anne's first boyfriend in 1970 was Camilla's future husband, Andrew Parker Bowles. At the time, Andrew ended his relationship with Anne to start a romance with Camilla, which apparently caused some hard feelings between them. Like many other royals, Anne was not thrilled to have Camilla in the family. She allegedly gave her a cold shoulder. Needless to say, Anne was also not too fond of Diana. Despite this sour history, both differed and had different approaches to monarchy. This chilly conduct of Princess Anne's was highly nerve-wracking to Camilla. Princess Royal reportedly confronted Camilla, telling Camilla she was uncomfortable using Queen versus Queen Consort soon after the coronation on May 6, 2023. Inside reports are that Queen Elizabeth II made her desire for Camilla to be named Queen Consort, but Camilla has adopted Queen, dropping Consort. It was Princess Anne who told Camilla, "You're not Queen, you're the Queen Consort." However, with time, both women seem to get along, becoming more tolerant of one another, to the point where they often look like old friends. Still, a sense of rift is felt from time to time. Anne has also always considered Camilla an opportunist. She always opted for the spotlight and privileges that Anne thought were frivolous, privileges and titles that she even declined for her kids. Number 5. Why Anne rejected royal titles for her children. Queen Elizabeth II, the late monarch, offered HRH titles to Zara Tindall and her older brother Peter Phillips when they were born. It was a great move to secure their future. But Princess Royal always had her mind. Both Princess Anne and her then-husband Phillips declined these titles. But what exactly were her reasons? Why did she want her children to grow up without titles? Born and raised as a princess, Anne knew the pressure of titles on her growing children. She wanted her children to live freely without any pressures of royal duties and have a normal childhood. Her former spouse, Mark Philip, also turned down the heirloom when he got married into the royal family. So, titles and privileges are unimportant for the practical Princess Royal. As a royal biographer, Ingrid Seward noted, she knew their lives would be simpler and probably be much happier if they didn't have the problem of having to live up to a prince or princess. The incident highlights a more practical and prudish side of Princess Anne. The decision also highlighted a personality clash between King Charles and Princess Anne. While the king upholds royal responsibilities, he confirms royal duties and demands, and believes in continuing royal titles. Anne, on the other hand, has been loyal to royal duties. Perhaps Princess Anne has suffered a considerable toll on her life because she is a royal princess. Her life has not been as smooth as it looks on the surface. She has had her share of challenges while growing up, and there have been serious attempts in her life, such as the kidnapping incident. Number 6. The 1974 kidnapping attempt that proved Anne's unshakable bravery. On March 20th, 1974, Princess Anne had an unfortunate incident that left lifelong marks on her. Armed kidnappers ambushed when 23-year-old Princess Anne was traveling back to Buckingham Palace after attending a charity event with her husband, Mark Philip. As the car blocked, the driver, Ian Ball, pulled out a handgun. He shot the driver, her bodyguard, and a journalist as well who tried to help. The kidnapper wanted a ransom for Princess Anne. When he tried to get her out of the car, Anne bravely said, "Not bloody likely." Ronnie Russell, a former boxer, thwarted the kidnapping attempt. Anne's brave response exhibits the strength of her character and courage. Though being raised as a princess, she proved her mettle in times of crisis. Number 7. The deepening divide. How Charles and Anne grew apart over the years. King Charles and Princess Anne spent their childhood together. Less than 2 years of gap made them more than friends. But as they grew, the rift between their personalities became more evident. Both grew up in the sophisticated world of the British elite, but that doesn't mean they didn't have their share of challenges. They have always remained in the public eye, complying with their royal duties and being civil and cordial, but they were not different from any other siblings. There were personality clashes, but that does not mean that they shadowed their role or responsibilities. Charles was born as an heir to the throne. Anne, on the other hand, had no such obligations. So, despite being raised together, both are raised differently. An example of this is the presence of King Charles at the Queen's coronation. He, the next heir in line, must be there while Princess Anne was home. Though he was too young, he appeared visibly bored, as evident from the pictures. King Charles's childhood was more lonely than Anne's. Both saw their mother performing royal duties and were left on nannies. However, he struggled to cope with Queen Elizabeth's absence. Even Prince Philip, the late husband of the Queen, had a reserved nature and struggled to form an emotional bond with his children. However, that was not the case with Princess Anne. She was close to both her mother and her father. Philip bonded with Anne over horses. Both were accomplished equestrians, and Philip enthusiastically supported Anne's riding career. Their shared interest strengthened their bond, but that was not the case with then Prince Charles. Of course, as the heir to the crown, Charles had more responsibilities as a child. He was required to be more groomed and polished, while Anne was a free spirit. Expectations and responsibilities weighed down King Charles, while Princess Anne grew up to be a free-willed and wild spirit. She was allowed to pursue her passions. She chose her own life's path. However, King Charles had the opposite of it, while Anne, full of spirit, enjoyed her adolescent years going to the fish and chip shop, blending with her classmates, and escaping royal detectives. Charles found it hard to fit in and was mercilessly bullied. Both siblings were also completely different in their interests. Anne has always been a sports person. She is determined and competitive. But Charles gravitates to art. He tried different sports, but wasn't good at any of them. While Charles was at Trinity College, getting an education in anthropology, archaeology, and history, Princess Anne traveled with her mother across the globe on royal duties. She became a working royal at the tender age of 18. That again showed her willpower and distinctive nature. Instead of enrolling in university to do what one was supposed to do, she chose her way. So, there has always been a tussle between them about what is expected. Charles, being shy, always abides by what is expected of him, but fails to show the strength of character like his sister. Anne always knew she was second to her brother. While she excelled in equestrian sports, she was shadowed by King Charles. That has been the pattern all their lives. Still, as Charles rose to the throne, she supported him, sharing the royal burden, helping him, and doing her part despite being left out of the inheritance. This could embitter any relationship. It is very common for siblings to feel overshadowed, but being royal, they know how to keep their secrets under the carpet. When King Charles III ascended to the throne after Queen Elizabeth II's death, Princess Anne stood beside him, as he was a loyal ally of the Princess Royal. Now that the king is dealing with his health issues, she is still committed to supporting the crown and devoting herself to the work of the monarchy, without needing titles and privileges. Her warmth is reflected in her message that moved King Charles to tears, and he and Kate Middleton too. But what was her message, and why did it shake the monarchy? Number 8. The one moment that made King Charles break down in tears. Princess Anne has always supported the monarchy. As the hardest worker in the royal family, she has apparently proven to be selfless as well. At the same time, the monarchy was under a shadow of grief over King Charles and Kate Middleton's cancer. She moved King Charles and Kate to tears by passing the royal title to Princess Charlotte. This transfer of title is deeply rooted in continuing the traditions of monarchy and ensuring its propagation. It reflects the Princes of Royal's contribution to the monarchy's future. Number 9. The role Anne plays in Charles's reign today. As for the support and role of Princess Anne to Charles' reign, she continues to serve her duties diligently. Being the most hard-working royal, she continues to take on the responsibility of strengthening the role of her brother, King Charles. Despite her apparent disapproval of Camilla and her personality clash with the king, she remains a steadfast ally, supporting him in times of need. Even when the king is coping with his health issues, she stands by his side, offering her unwavering support and loyalty. Although they may have different personalities, and she may not have earned anything from her mother's inheritance, she becomes an essential part of his monarchy, being his confidant, ally, and friend. Princess Anne participated in the procession as the prestigious Gold Stick-in-Waiting, a role historically given to someone entrusted with the monarch's safety. Their bond strengthened as they marched behind their late father's coffin, mourned their mother, and faced all family issues together. Princess Anne's unwavering work ethic and commitment to royal duties have been a subtle yet impactful influence on King Charles III's leadership. She remains his steadfast ally, supporting him in the progression of the monarchy and strengthening it as well. Number 10. Did Anne's decision protect the monarchy or challenge it? Even though she has always been a strong-willed and free spirit, Anne's upbringing and lifelong journey are strongly imbued with the propagation of monarchy. She rightfully earned the title of the most hard-working royal. Her tireless dedication to her royal duties is a steadfast symbol of her services in strengthening and supporting the monarchy. Her inheritance rejection may seem like she takes royal duties lightly, but the fact is that a mother decided to save her children from the stress and pressure of royalty. She knew the titles were rather ceremonial, as real royalty continued through Charles's heir, Prince Philip. Number 11. Was this Anne's final act of defiance? Her decision to disown titles for her children does not seem like an act of defiance. The Princess Royal has always stayed true to herself instead of conforming to traditions. In contrast to King Charles' obedience, she has always set her foot on the ground and done what she likes. However, she has never crossed any line that threatens the monarchy or goes against it. Even her decisions to disown the titles or pass them on to Princess Charlotte reflect her true commitment to the monarchy. Her unwavering support has always been with King Charles. Despite keeping up her personality, she has always supported Charles's vision for the royal family through her actions, words, and emotions. Number 12. The lasting impact of Anne's revelation on the royal family. Anne's dedication and support are essential for the royal family. Whether passing on the title to Princess Charlotte or supporting King Charles through thick and thin, her role will be imprinted in glaring words in royal history. Her feminine approach, defiant personality, dedication to monarchy, and strength of character will always be a guiding spirit for later generations. Although she may not change the physical trajectory of the royal family, she surely provides a modern and realistic role model for the next generation of princesses. Princess Anne has always been a force to be reckoned with. Following in the footsteps of her late mother, she remains steadfast in her values while dedicating her time and efforts to preserving the monarchy. She is the epitome of following tradition while staying true to herself. With Charles's unwavering support, she will continue to shape the monarchy. What do you think about Princess Anne's long journey and decisions? To what extent has she managed her individuality while staying faithful to her duties and responsibilities? Has she left the marks that later generations will look up to? Tell us in the comments.